Officials in China have begun load testing what will become the world's tallest bridge. The structure will reduce travel time in the Chinese city from 2 hours to 1 minute.
There are bridges built over rivers, bridges built over valleys, bridges built over busy city roads. But in China, engineers decided to build a bridge across something that looked almost impossible. A canyon so deep that standing at the bottom and looking up would feel like staring at a skyscraper hanging in the sky. And instead of going around it, they chose to fly directly over it. The result would become one of the highest and most extreme bridge projects ever attempted. A bridge so unbelievable that during construction, half of it simply hung in midair, hundreds of meters above the ground, with absolutely nothing underneath. And for years, people wondered the same thing. How do you even build something like that? The answer begins with one of China's biggest problems. For decades, the country's economy was exploding. Cities were growing, factories were opening everywhere, and millions of people were moving across the country every year. But China's geography had a problem of its own. Much of the southwest is covered by mountains. Not small hills, gigantic mountain ranges, deep canyons, vertical cliffs, places where traveling just a few kilometers in a straight line could take hours by road. Entire regions remained isolated simply because the terrain was so extreme. In some areas, villages sitting almost next to each other were separated by enormous gorges. To reach the other side, drivers had to follow winding mountain roads for hours. This slowed trade, it slowed tourism, and it slowed economic growth. China wanted to connect these regions, but there was one obstacle standing in the way. A massive canyon, steep cliffs on both sides, a drop so deep it looked almost bottomless. Building a road through it was nearly impossible. Going around it would add huge amounts of time and money. And tunneling through the mountains would create an engineering nightmare of its own. So engineers proposed an idea that sounded absurd. Why not simply cross above it? But there was one huge issue. The canyon was enormous. The distance between the cliffs was massive, and the height was terrifying. At some points, the bridge deck would sit higher than many of the world's tallest buildings. This wasn't just another bridge. This would become one of the most extreme construction projects on Earth. And that raised an even bigger question. How do you build a bridge where almost nothing can reach the middle? You can't simply drive cranes into the canyon. You can't build temporary supports from below. And you certainly can't have hundreds of workers climbing up and down cliffs every day. The environment itself seemed to reject the project. Then engineers came up with a solution. Instead of building from the bottom up, they would build from both sides. At the same time, construction started high on the cliffs. First came the foundations. Thousands of tons of concrete had to be anchored directly into solid rock, because once the bridge was complete, every load, every truck, every gust of wind would eventually flow into these foundations. Then the giant support towers began rising, massive concrete structures climbing high above the canyon, each section carefully poured and assembled piece by piece. And as the towers grew, the real challenge was just beginning. The bridge deck itself, the part that would eventually carry traffic across the canyon. There was only one way to build it. Engineers pushed the structure outward from both sides, meter by meter, a little farther every week, each new segment extending over empty space. And suddenly, workers found themselves standing hundreds of meters above the canyon floor, with absolutely nothing underneath. One mistake, one equipment failure, one major storm could have caused a disaster, and the weather was another enemy. High mountain winds constantly swept through the canyon. Strong gusts could shake construction equipment and make lifting operations extremely dangerous. Dense fog often covered the entire valley. Sometimes workers couldn't even see the bottom or each other. The canyon created its own environment, its own challenges, its own rules. And then there was the problem nobody can escape: gravity. The farther the bridge extended outward, the heavier it became. Imagine holding a ruler off the edge of a table. The farther it sticks out, the more force pulls it downward. Now imagine that ruler weighing thousands of tons. Engineers had to constantly balance the structure. Special temporary systems were used to keep everything stable. Every new section changed the forces acting on the bridge. Every movement had to be calculated. Every piece had to fit perfectly, because by now, The unfinished bridge wasn't just hanging over a canyon, it was balancing over it. Then came one of the most dramatic moments of the entire project, the gap in the middle. For years, two enormous sections had been slowly growing toward each other, closer and closer, until finally, only a small distance remained, and despite the gigantic size of the bridge, the two sides had to meet almost perfectly. A tiny error could create massive problems. Temperatures changed the length of the steel. Wind could move the structure. Even sunlight could slightly affect measurements. Everything had to happen at exactly the right time. When the final connection was completed, it marked one of the greatest moments of the project. The impossible gap had finally disappeared, but the story still wasn't over, because building an extreme bridge is one thing, keeping it standing is another. A bridge this high faces enormous forces every single day. Powerful winds, heavy traffic, temperature changes, rain, storms. The entire structure is constantly moving. Not enough for drivers to notice, but enough that engineers monitor it continuously. Thousands of sensors can be installed throughout projects like these, watching the structure, measuring stress, checking movement, making sure that every component behaves exactly as expected. Because at these heights, small problems can become very big problems. And perhaps the most incredible thing isn't the bridge itself, it's what it changed. Journeys that once took hours can suddenly take minutes. Remote regions become connected, trade increases, tourism explodes. Entire communities are transformed. What once looked like an impossible barrier becomes just another road. And if you stand at the edge of that canyon today and look up, you'll see something that almost doesn't seem real. A gigantic bridge suspended high above the mountains, a structure so extreme that during construction, part of it simply hung over empty air, hundreds of meters above the ground, built in a place where almost every rule of construction seemed to say the same thing. Don't even try, but maybe. The most unbelievable part is how quickly something impossible can become ordinary. Every day, thousands of people cross bridges like this without thinking twice. Drivers look out of their windows and see mountains, clouds, a canyon disappearing into the distance, but very few stop to think about what is actually beneath them. Hundreds of meters of empty air, thousands of tons of concrete and steel, and one of the most extreme engineering achievements ever attempted, because projects like this do more than connect two pieces of land. They change the way entire regions work. A trip that once felt like a dangerous mountain expedition can suddenly become an ordinary commute. Businesses grow, tourists arrive, communities that once felt isolated become connected to the rest of the country. And in many ways, that has become China's real superpower, not just building bigger cities or taller skyscrapers, but refusing to accept geography as a limitation. Mountains become tunnels, oceans become bridges, and canyons become highways in the sky, which means that somewhere in the mountains of China, people now drive across one of the most impossible bridges on Earth without even slowing down, completely unaware that not long ago, standing in that exact spot would have felt impossible.